Very much, Bill. I hope the coffee was refreshing. I think we have less people now. Is that right? Colleagues, for those of you who are here and for those of you who are online, we will start with some exercise. I think Bob already started this morning. So I would like to request you to stand behind your chair. Just hold your chair behind you. We have been sitting here a lot since yesterday. And we will do this safely, yeah? Okay? Just stand behind your chair and listen to my statement, okay? So the way we do this, we have one side that called this side and then the other side, okay? When you are in agreement with my statement, you move to my right-hand side, okay? When you disagree with my statement, you move to the other side. But please move safely, okay? Because there are a lot of things. So is the instruction clear? Are we ready? And for those who are online, when you are in agreement with my statement, you can raise your thumb or your hands, okay? Colleagues online, are you with us? They are no longer connected?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can somebody confirm that you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so if you are in agreement with this statement, then you put your thumb up like that. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we are ready, right? First statement. After listening to all the country experiences, I completely understand how better production operates at country level. If you are in agreement, you go to this side. If you are not fully in agreement, you go to the other side. Okay, move quickly, move quickly. Everybody, okay, when I ask questions, you cannot ask me back. Just listen. I repeat, and you can still change your mind. Colleagues online, if you are in agreement, then you put your thumb up. After listening to all the country stories and experiences, I completely understand how better production operates at country level. If you are in agreement, please stay together. If you are agreement here, not agree on this side. Sridhar, maybe we should extend this workshop a few more days. I don't see any thumb up. Okay, there are 3 people. Are you in this group? No? Okay. Now, colleagues. Okay. Now before we go to the panels, I would like to ask Lihe and our 3 colleagues here, what is that you think, this 1.5 days have enlightened you about better production at country level? Can you use microphone? Just briefly.
I hope I will not disappoint you. Actually, why I sit at your right is I just try to be representative of someone agree your statement. Thank you.
Okay, Lihe.
Thank you for this opportunity. I think this is really a timely moment that here the country's needs to align our technical works with the needs and also strategic frameworks. So I think from this Today and yesterday, I heard the country's needs like the saltwater intrusion, flooding, invasive alien species, the biodiversity issue, the pollution, the farmers' livelihoods and income. So I think I learned a lot. And I think from Rob's side, what's the problem? From Rob's side, from the production side, just some examples. We have developed the e-learnings on C9 and
Okay.
we developed.
Okay, let's give applause to Lihe, who is actually minority group, who is completely understanding about how better production operate at country level. Okay, this is the majority of the group, okay? What is that you are still doubting in terms of how better production operates at country level? Can I have one representative speaking on microphone? So you are not fully, understanding how better production operate at country level. Pak Ageng.
Thank you. So, in a reality, that at the country level, a lot of cross-cutting issue that we should combine PP1, PP2, PP3, and so on. This is a kind of the proper interpretation
Okay.
of the PPA as well as PP. So that's why this is we have to have a kind of better understanding on that kind of thing.
Okay.
We learn a lot, but we
Not
understand,
completely
but not
understand.
completely know.
Okay.
So,
Let's do better information sharing for improving understanding on better production. Okay. Applause to Pak Ageng. I think, I think it's clear for us that it is important to continue, sharing this knowledge, exchange information to improve, our own understanding. My final statement, I have to change glasses. Okay, now you can shift again, okay? But do it safely. Now I am fully equipped to implement successfully better production in my country or office through one FAO approach. If you agree, you come here. If you disagree, you stay. Don't be lazy, move. Now I'm fully equipped to implement successfully better production in my country or office through one FAO approach. Guys, you need to be confident. Come on. Okay.
I mean, it's nuanced, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Father.
Just the balance, you have to put some.
Okay. Okay. Now I see some changes. Like let's say top management, they fully equip, but those who implement, maybe they are not fully equipped, they equip to some level, right? So again, this means that, we need to foster learning, across our team, across group, to really understand, because we listen from countries, from members that, they need specific things from regional office and from headquarters. Okay, thank you very much. Take your seat and we'll continue with the panel. Okay.
I have another group in between.
No, you can sit there, Bob. Okay, now, how much time we have, Bo? 12 midnight? Okay, so thank you very much, colleagues, for being in the panel. And I assume that most of you, if not all of you, followed the discussion from yesterday, even virtually or being here, okay? So my first question to you, you don't have to answer, but you can voluntarily answer this question. Countries have experience in working together as one FAO with RAP and headquarters. and this has been, explained in presentations. And they have also some expectation from region, from RAP, okay? My question to you, listening to this country's request or presentation, what will you do more to support countries to implement your respective better production? Some of you here better one, BP1, BP2, BP3, BP4, and BP5. So what will you do more to support countries implement respective BP? I would like to hear, more specific examples. Over to you. Who will go first? I see Aziz want to talk, please.
I was gonna ask whether we go by numbers or we go by.
We don't go by orders. We go by whoever want to volunteers.
So I'll think aloud. Yeah, I'll think aloud. So I will be saying, reflecting on BP5, digital agriculture. We've had a very successful internal discussion here in RAP in last month in the preparation for this. And we've heard from the FAORs who are reflecting the perspective from the countries. Our approach in the last few years will need to evolve, obviously, and we need to be more responsive to countries' demands. The key driving for the key driving paradigm is agri-food system transformation, and how an accelerator like digitalization can help with that. And we are currently trying to work with countries, specific countries, especially those the least developed or less developed or less advanced, to try to connect their needs for digitalization, which is universal, and with their priorities for agricultural transformation, and agri-food production is part of that. So we are developing, for example, on UTCP's new ideas for supporting countries and linking their digitalization needs with priorities that we heard this morning on climate smart agriculture, on fisheries, on marketing issues. So linking digitalization with agri-food systems in the context of country priorities will be the way to go forward in the next biennium. So that's the big lesson. The second point we heard from the country offices that stuck in my mind, of course, I was taking notes, is that so far RAP has not been a RAP or FAO with respect to digital support has not been very ambitious. So we are not very ambitious in relation to what the countries need. And it has to do with the fact that digitalization is a process that is taking place outside of FAO, but FAO is trying to provide some support. So there are 2 or 3 kind of big lessons that we have gotten that we are trying to incorporate into the future work going forward.
Thank you very much, Aziz. And for those participants, if you have question, you can jot it down, and we'll ask to the panel also. Yubak?
Yeah, thank you. In line of Ajiz's points, actually, I also echo on him. Actually, we have a lot of discussion since yesterday on the better production, since this is a better production regional workshop. And with regard to BP1, innovation for sustainable agricultural production, the good thing is that aside of the country's specific problem, most of the countries are on a same page. The holistic approach and more production is not only the bulk production, enhancement of the production, while at the same time consideration of environment and natural resources for future generation, and also nutritious food, value chain. These things are there. To me, actually, from the regional perspective, our aim should be more on food system transformation, not only in terms of more production. So the aim should be to meet the current agriculture demands while preserving natural resources for future generation. this can be done. Actually, we are hearing many things, the subsistence farming, lack of inputs, technology, capacities, resources, and also policy level issues. So to address these all things, actually the simple answer should be efficient use of inputs, technology, innovations, and then enabling policies. I think this should be the broader perspective, and it should be focused more on productive area, and the production should be focused more resilient, innovative, and competitive, while considering the quality and enabling policies, maintains economic viability for farmers. So far as the BP1 specific examples, I think there are a lot of examples. We have been working with the colleagues in the countries. It's not only limiting to DSR technology, mechanization. Our colleague actually Bo and Liha, they are focusing on production side. To me, the important thing is, since countries are working closely with the government, they have the major menu of the demand coming from the government, and they are the primary agencies, and they understand more closely the problem. They have also the uh, opportunity and access of multilateral and bilateral partners in the countries. So while sitting in the RAP in Bangkok office, I see very little opportunity of resource mobilization. I think what we can do best together with headquarter RAP and the country is, if the request coming from government and the potential possibilities of resource mobilization from the potential donor in the countries, then we can work closely. We have some examples we have done in some areas as well. However, it is not sufficient.
Okay.
So thank you. I stop here.
So if I hear you correctly, Yubak, so you will be working with country in supporting them with resource mobilization to respond to government demand. This is what I heard. Okay, any more response to this question before we move to the next? Aziz first.
I suppose we're going in that line. I would like to take on what was said. At the same breath, we're talking about food system transformation, which is a very holistic approach. Some of it goes beyond FAO's mandate even. So it includes a lot of different actors, different things. But in the same breath, we're talking about BP1, BP2, and etc. So we have a stylized things that seems like we're imposing that structure on the country's needs and priorities, which may or may not fit what we have in our plan. So the country priorities need to really take precedence, and that would require a multidisciplinary team to work on. It could be from one BP or even across the four betters. But I think the way we are structured may not allow for that approach. So the key question, I'm not going to go too much into detail into that, but how I would do better if I was given a chance would be to have multidisciplinary teams to respond to the needs and priorities of countries, but then think as a second layer of work, think about how those responses or those things could fit into our stylized BPs. The other thing I would like to also say is that I'm just talking about BP4 now. If you just take BP4, there are 6 key areas of work in there, each one of them onto their own, huge areas of work. Some of it even goes beyond the FAO itself. If you're talking about just 1 out of the 20 PPAs. So reconciling these overlaps and these things might be a good place to start. I'll stop there.
Thank you, Aziz. This is very important. Although speaking from BP4 perspective, what Aziz is saying is that, that at regional level and perhaps also reaching out to the headquarters in addressing issues or demand from country, our team here could constitute multidisciplinary team. I think, any issue that we are facing at country level goes beyond one specific fields of expertise. So very important statement. Any more reaction?
Yes, and
We have not met. I'm Yuri. You're Felix, right?
Felix,
Yeah,
yes.
nice to see you. Okay,
Livestock
go on,
officer
Felix, yeah.
here. I'm representing Scott, who's the focal point for BP3 on One Health. And what I wanted to say is actually very aligned with what Aziz just said. I think hearing from the countries this morning, I see a request to break silos at two different levels, actually. The first one is within livestock, and because when I hear the country presentation, it's about livestock production, but it's also about climate resilience, and One Health is very much about animal health as well. So we need to work across those different areas. And the second type of silos is more what Aziz was saying. It's across subsectors, and I think we need to bridge the gap with plant production, and so better production in general. And in theory, One Health gives us an approach to do that, because One Health is about animal health, but it's also about soil health, plant health. But in practice, it's true that we perhaps don't talk enough together. And one option would be those multidisciplinary teams that Aziz was mentioning. But also within livestock, we need to talk more together. I'm personally more of a production and environmental person, and I need to talk more with my animal health colleagues. One last challenge that I wanted to share is that and Taka mentioned it this morning at the beginning, that One Health, this PPA, is actually a good vessel, a good brand for resource mobilization. So it's something good, but at the same time, it's a constraint, because then we're constrained by the donors' requirements, recommendations, and those can be very, very siloed. Again, when it comes to animal health, for example, as a production person, I was a bit amazed at the beginning when looking at all those animal health projects that really don't look at improvement of what vaccine, for example, have as an effect in improving production as well. So in that sense, I think we also need I don't know, maybe internal resources as well to not only do what the donors need us to do, which can be siloed, and which can sometimes not align well with our programmatic approach, and so to really push forward our own programmatic approach. Thank you.
Thank you, Felix. David.
Thanks very much, Jordi. And I think in terms of the fisheries and aquaculture module here, I mean, I hear that there is good support in the region and from headquarters as well. But I also see the need for more support in terms of many of the countries and aligning the blue transformation work to the countries. And we have some of the big global leaders here: China, India, Indonesia. Really, these countries are massive for blue transformation, and there's a lot of innovation there. There's a lot of capacity there as well. So, sharing of these expertise amongst countries is really important, I think. I mean, I think also for me, I think communication is something that the blue transformation we need to. I can see also countries are perhaps not so aware of what it actually is yet, and I think there's very good good potential to communicate, and we can involve headquarters in this as well, and to work across the other BPs. And certainly, as we've talked already, specific mobilization and resource mobilization support. So, but I think also there's a good, as I say, there's a good a potential to raise awareness across countries. We have good linkage with APRC and with the Committee on Fisheries. So these are, I think at that level, the countries are engaged and aware of what we are and what we're doing. But it's then how do we strengthen this work at country level? Thanks.
Thank you very much, David. Let give applause to our panel for this first question. So I have heard, many nice things that, our colleagues from the region, after listening to your country experience, what they have in mind in terms of, working as a one team in supporting, your program at country level, improving communications, forming multidisciplinary task forces or whatever. So now let me ask this question back to our colleagues from countries and also those who are online. What do you think about, the reaction of our colleagues? Are this something that you believe could support you more effectively at country level, or are there any specific gaps that you think, that the team here or in the headquarters can do more from your perspective? Who was first? I could not see. Okay, Ken.
Thank you very much. I completely agree with the recommendation for a multidisciplinary or technical backstopping to the country offices. What I don't understand is that why would you say that the current structure would does not enable that? Because with the new LTO model, you can have an LTO team approach. I have projects where the LTO brings in additional technical officers as required. Yes, we have to pay for TSS, but we have examples like that. So it's just maybe a point for clarification when you say, the current structures are not conducive to that kind of multidisciplinary technical support. Are you referring to more collaboration between RAP and HQ technical officers, or, because I don't, I don't understand, that your point of view, but I completely agree with the recommendation. I think it is already happening in some cases. Not all the time, and I do think we have systems that enable that. So.
Thank you, Ken. Who wants to respond? Okay, let me respond before we forget. Okay, Bob. Yeah.
I want to respond directly to Ken because of the regional office and probably to another degree in HQ. We do have a regional office budget that goes to the modules. And I think what our teams are talking about is trying to break down the silos between modules and come with a more strategic approach on how we support on really specific topics that we're hearing here today. And so this is something that I think for 2025, we need to have a stronger dialogue with country offices and our modules to understand what are the core issues. Maybe they're not specific to one module and we need a multidisciplinary team or a specific topic area to engage in that. And then having feedback from country offices, would this be a useful action going forward? But on the project, so this is in a case where there's not a project developed and there's resources to allocate. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob. I think, there's a possibility, and we will, I think what we need to do is to show that it works, and then more models, or will be scale out or scale up. Who is the highest? Okay, the Aziz A first.
Yeah, what the LTO model is talking about is really a project which has been designed. It has specific outputs, and you just go and do those things. If the one LTO doesn't have the skills, you get someone else to do that for you. That's fine. That's really not the issue. Say, for example, the government asks you that we have a problem of farmers not having enough income. Yeah, or they can't really make a good living out of it, or there is out migration because there is not that many opportunities. Can we have a look at it? That kind of support, which BP or better would you send it to, or which team in the case of RAP, which module would you send it to? If it's a multidisciplinary team, they would look at it from the water perspective, from the production, from marketing, from policy aspects, from institutional aspects, from all of these things would need to be looked at. We're not saying that all of these skills are available here. That's where the link with HQ comes in. So we need to get that help from there. But the LTU thing, that's fine. I think we do find ways of providing that support which is required through a project. But when you're talking about at a policy level and looking and also developing larger scale programs and initiatives in the country, that requires much more than what one particular team or one better can offer you. That's what I meant by looking at a multidisciplinary team. It's a lot of the times, for example, with interaction with the country offices, there are requests coming to the country office, which goes beyond a little project as much bigger issue. It could be issues related to social protection, gender issues, social inclusion, it could be production, it could be environment, etc., etc. So, or it could be all of those things in one. The cause-effect relationship may be very complex, and in real life, it often is. And I think that's the kind of work we need to be looking at, and the kind of teams we need to be preparing here. Digitalization works only if various other things work. Rural finance works if various other aspects work. So,
thank you, Aziz. Now we go to Aziz.
Yeah, so let's take a concrete example of one of the issues that was raised, the Timor-Leste demand, let's say, for rice. And it was, you raised it. And so how would RAP respond to that request? That's the case where you would send a multidisciplinary team, but I don't mean 12 people. I mean technical rice expert, policy expert, and someone who knows about the market, the entire value chain of rice, at least 3, and then do an assessment of the potential of the country to expand rice production, where and how, in connection with the technical team from headquarters who would do, you know, the land use team and the GIS team who have better understanding of the potential for land in the country. So there is some technical assessment to be done. There is a policy environment to be done, and there is a value chain market that Taka raised is very important. That's the example of a multidisciplinary but focused that the RAP management support in addressing a new demand that is not yet a project, that is not yet has no budget, but an exploratory. I don't think we do enough of that in RAP. I haven't seen many such multidisciplinary missions with the focus on reporting back from which a project can be designed. But I think that's something that will go a long way in addressing the needs of the countries.
Yeah, thank you. You're right, Aziz. We can do more of this kind of model. Indeed, you know, if my recollection is correct, you know, we did once to Bangladesh at the time, and we did also one to Papua New Guinea, this big project also, you know, different, you know, experts went there. So we have some, you know, basis to build on. Let me go to the panel finish, or are these new question or responding to this? I see Taka first. Responding to this one, right? Okay, Taka, please.
Yes, just recently the RAPS and the 4 people's missions to India, multidisciplinary, led by the Shaila, and the UBAC is a part of the missions to go to the Jeff 6, which is really the multidisciplinary type of project. And so I really hope that this type of the multidisciplinary mission will continue. However, the 1 week in India is too short.
Okay, Bob is listening. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I hope that the RAP management really relax a little bit those number of days, because I wanted them to see the different things, not just the one thing. And when they come, it's more effective to visit a couple of places together. And then Jeff 6, for example, it is a 5 country. It's not just one it's one project in one country, but states is like one country in India. So if you go to the one state, it is just one project in one country like that. So we have 5 states. So we need the more number of days for them to stay in India to expose themselves. Otherwise, even the multidisciplinary type of mission may not learn and provide enough advices to us. So that's the limitation that if we talk about the one FAO, one more effectiveness, and that sort of things that I request. Thank you.
Thank you, Taka, for re-echoing your suggestion. I think it's resonate well with us. I think also, before we go to countries in terms of multidisciplinary team, we also need to be well prepared. You do not just go there and start reading your stuff or preparing on the plane or when you arrive. I think we really have to be much more well prepared in order to be effective, to save time also. Okay, responding to this, right? Yes, please.
Thank you. I think that as FAO is moving towards more programmatic approach in designing projects, yeah, I think a lot of expertise are required for delivering the task. So I think we need to move away from just 1 or 2 LTO model to a more like a EU project type with work packages. You need to do something like, in the project formulate or program formulation stage, to look at what are the work packages and how does it link to the theory of change and impact pathways. And then you can think about what expertise are required for different work packages. And then you can mobilize expertise from headquarter levels and also RAP level to contribute to this sort of project. So that is really a multidisciplinary approach with experts from the specific areas. Otherwise, if we just formulate the project in a very short period of time without thinking about the need of the country, different subregion, subnational levels, and also different expertise are required in that kind of project, then you will miss a lot of the work that cannot be delivered in that programmatic approach. Over.
Completely agree. Thank you very much. I think in view of time, I would like to perhaps, if there is no burning response to this, I see one hand online, Nitukar. Is it in response to this one, or you have completely different question?
Yeah, it's a different reflection. Is it this a good time or later on?
You are responding to the question, this one now, right?
Not this. I was talking about the LTO issue on project delivery, the problem that we are facing.
Yeah, you go ahead and maybe if you can be brief.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. I do not know how other LTOs are handling it, but I wanted to share what difficulty we are facing as LTOs in the SAB. Each of our projects are mostly multi-country. So there are a lot of recruitment, lot of procurement, lot of LOAs to be done. And with the frequent attrition ratio here, recruitment is ongoing. So what happens generally is LTOs develop the TORs, the plans, the LTO has to review it themselves, and LTO approves itself. So I have to write it, review it, and approve it myself until it goes to BMBH. So what I'm saying is the LTO, the most of the focus goes on the administrative work rather than the technical aspects and improving the strategic thinking, etc. So we need to look at that aspect on how we could improve, because and there's no institutional memory the way of recruiting national staff, limited number of days. So there is no institutional memory that is built up over a period of time. So that also affects the project delivery.
Okay.
So I wanted to bring that on the table. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Nitokar. I think, is a good opportunity also to reflect, how we are actually, making use of the task force members. It's not only LTO, right? In all the projects, you have what you call task force members. And when I was actually part of this task force members, I remember quite vividly that even I was task member, I didn't do anything. So, and I think the last statement was correct. LTO did everything, So colleagues, it's important that, we improve this going forward. Now let's move to the next question. I think, Songha, can you ask it briefly? Then we see what the panel will respond. Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to ask about synergies among the PPAs within BP. More specifically about One Health, because now in Vietnam, the One Health partnership is very dynamic, and they meet every week with many stakeholders taking and convening the floors. But I have the feeling that One Health at the RAP level is more focused on livestock and animal diseases. But in Vietnam, the One Health partnership is very inclusive of plant health, of ocean health, ecosystem health. So I'd like to ask how the BP3 programming would be more inclusive of other thematic areas.
Okay, this is specific to BP3, and maybe Felix, you can be brief, because what time we have to go for lunch? 20 minutes, okay.
Yes, it's true that the same type of silos that we observe within livestock or across division here, we have them actually within One Health, because it's really this dialogue between animal health, public health, and environmental health or wildlife. And I must say that until now, I think addressing this first challenge of having for example, the public health ministry and the animal production health ministry talking together, we're starting doing this pretty good. But the environmental health part have been lagging behind. That's true. So one of the entry points that we have, and we are, I think, increasingly successful, is on more specifically wildlife disease spillover. That I think we have developed recently a number of tools like the WeBe that allow to address these components. But I think there is also a need to zoom out and to include really natural resource health, climate mitigation, and this is something we are actually progressingly doing. Yes, basically that's what I wanted to say. And again, that we are doing this dialogue with the climate team here to also bridge this gap with environmental health as well.
Thank you so much. Bo, did you want to have a quick response
in this? Can I then?
Bo first, and then you.
Yeah, I have a very quick, just to share my observation about actually the capacity, technical capacity of our staff, our colleagues at country level. They are actually in the front line to provide immediate, actually, the interventions to the government, to the request from the government, as well as from the project implementation. So I think with the support from HQ and the regional office, I think it could be somehow to tap to capacitate our colleagues at the country level. Thank you.
Thank you, Bo. Yuba, quickly.
Yeah, thank you. With regard to Songha and Felix, in One Health, actually plant health aspect has been much overlooked or maybe under considered. This is also my feeling. I raised this issue in headquarter discussion as well couple of times. In Vietnam, we have plant health national strategy for One Health, and it includes many things. But in unlike Vietnam, other countries, this is the situation. Here in RAP, while considering the resource or program, actually we don't take much about plant health side. AMR is talking mainly on livestock, but that is wrong in my observation. In this world, actually the plant eating people are far more than the carnivore animal eating people, animal meat eating people. So equally to the animal AMR, actually many chemical pesticides, they have been causing significant impact on health, environment, water, and many things. We can discuss many things in this area. So it is also my submission. We have to plan together. If we talk about One Health, if we go by definition, it's the interaction between human, animal, plant, and environment. We are talking environment, but we are living plant side. So
Okay.
it means the important aspect has been left. And
Thank you.
another thing, just ill gap, the countries, we are talking much about ill gap. And one of the area, plant protection is not much talked in better production. We are talking more about production, but our FAO handbook says 30 to 40% crops are lost by insect pest, disease, and many invasive plant pests. And that aspect has not been highlighted. So in this regard, I'd like to bring this issue as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yubak. You know, at the headquarters, we have been talking about, coordination of One Health to be, to go beyond, let's say, quote unquote, animals health. Actually, there will be a meeting between my division, Plant Production Protection, and NSA, if I think in the end of this month, to really, promote this, interdisciplinarity in One Health. Okay, good, very good. So that was my first question only. What I take from this conversation is that, the huge opportunity for the regional team or, the team beyond country office, including headquarters, to provide more strategic support to the country offices, provided that, we are working more as one FAO, interdisciplinary, well-planned, and also, more attention, to more responsive to government demand, coordinated by FAOR. So I think here the role of FAO representative are very critical. I'll move on to the next question to the panel, to our 5 panels. So listening to the first interaction between the panel and countries and others, how would you go about facilitating more coordination within your particular BP or PPA and across PPAs involving different offices? So how would you, in the regional level, you have this responsibility of coordination. So how would you go about it? What will you change? Okay, if I may request you very brief because of time, 2 minutes each, whoever want to start. Yubak? Yubak, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Just I'll be very much brief. Actually, there are some gaps that we learn over the period of discussion. Mainly these gaps I can categorize with respect to BP1 is the limited financial supports to implement BP1 related program, mainly to address the climate impact, climate change, responding climate change impacts, and that I think financial situation is almost limited. And then gaps in provision of
Yubak,
inclusive.
let me cut you here. Colleagues, we have to understand. I started with FAO not too long ago, I think 2012. I have heard this many times. Limited financial resources, limited capacity, limited that and that, okay? This is the context within which we are working. What I'm asking is, knowing all this context and limitation, what would you do differently in coordinating your BP? Okay, so let's not repeat this. We know about this. Yubak, over to you.
Thank you. I got your point. Maybe innovative technology is one of the important area, and then meeting the yield gap. So we have to focus more on innovation, science and technologies, resource mobilization, then investment in R&D. Actually, when project finishes in the countries, then we start another project. And where the outcome has gone, actually there is no upscaling and outscaling and continuation of that kind of good things, and research is not backed up, those kinds of thing. And some rapid response mechanisms should also be there for some emergency kinds of responses, like invasive plant-based disease and other things. Then support to public institutions, enabling environment policies. These are some of the areas that we need to highlight more. Thanks.
Thank you, Yubak. Any more response from the panel? David first. Yeah.
Thanks. I think from our perspective, I mean, yes, certainly all of these points are incredibly important, including the funding. But I think also for us, we can make more use of partnerships with other agencies and other NGOs and fisheries management bodies, regional fisheries entities, this kind of thing. And I think building, partnerships with them to support delivery and to work with the countries would be a good step. They have the same objectives as us in terms of conservation and production, that kind of thing. So I think that would, in addition to these other points, would be a kind of useful stuff for us to have to work on. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Aziz, I will Aziz first.
Yes, thank you. In the case of BP5 digital agriculture, this is actually easy to consider in a cross-cutting integrated mode. We're not there yet, but I think all of the technical units are now becoming more and more aware of the importance of technologies, digital technologies, and other innovations within their sectoral of focus. So I think in terms of programmatically, the future should be to integrate BP5 in two parts. One, where there is a policy support or knowledge base, could be housed in one leading unit. And then all of the other units should contribute and be part of contributing to, but benefiting from the accumulated knowledge in digital agriculture, in innovations and experiences at the country level. So there is a room for that kind of spreading across a different unit. We're not there yet programmatically, but I think this is the direction RAP is headed in the next biennium. So it's easy to do a cross-cutting, but we're not there yet programmatically.
Thank you, Aziz. If we know we are not there yet, meaning that we want to be there, right? So that's a good point also. Thank you. Aziz?
Thank you, Urdi. BP4, when I looked at it, it's about 75% overlaps with BL2, Better Life 2. Even the words are 75%. Now, the other thing I would like to say is to try and reconcile some of these overlaps. If you're taking BP4 really seriously, quite a lot of this work is really related to regulatory frameworks and policy, and in the overall context of governance. I won't go into a lot of details in this, but that does require working with all the other Bs. So the project, I know we keep talking about the project, but the projects will really have to be byproducts of such an analysis. So a gap analysis and analysis of the country's needs, requirements, and also priorities would need to then lead us to which projects do we prioritize? And the last stage of that, then we can impose our accounting system, which is, for me, the BP. Which thing goes under which B? And
Okay.
BPA.
Thank you, Aziz. Felix, you have a quick response?
Yeah, very quick actually, because I just want to say that we have some existing mechanism that I think can be strengthened to better this coordination. You mentioned the task force. I think that's one. It's really underused, but if it was clear the role of everybody to contribute to better coordination, it would work much better. Another one that I think of are the task force that we have here. We have DVI, we have the Climate and Environmental Task Force. I think that those are sort of beginning of coordination, but again, if the different teams would commit on specific deliverables to the task force, I think it would be a way to build an existing mechanism to better deliver in a more coordinated manner.
Thank you very much. Now I give back the floor to all of you, and for those who are online can raise your hand. Maybe I can take up to 3 or 4 questions. First, I see Sridhar, and then Sheikh, and I forgot your name again. Tai, and Taka. And online? No online. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone for the reflections. I'll be very quick. So this question to me was more about what's the teamwork solution here? Because we do have the PPAs, we have the experts, and we have all these offices which are working. And essentially, it's the problem which defines what team should actually be put together to sort it out. And there are 2 things which I would just like to mention here. One is, of course, as to respond to a country request like we had for like the case of Timor-Leste. But the other thing that we need to bring in here, it's not just about putting in a production strategy for a country to increase its productivity in production, but it's also to bring in all these other aspects of agri-food system transformation. Are we simply increasing rice production? Do we want to do it sustainably, not to consume too much water? And also start the very difficult conversation that do you really need to produce so much? Can't you trade with other countries and then sort that issue as well? So, I mean, one of the things that we probably don't do enough is to have the difficult conversation. And that's what is really needed if you want the transformative change. We wouldn't have had the pandemic fund if we didn't have the pandemic. So, but let's not wait for a production crisis so that we can have a production fund. So I would just suggest that this is broadly and generically dividing into 2 threads. Answer, let's work with countries to respond to their requests in the best way possible, including using all these technological solutions. But the second is also to start the difficult conversations based on what we have, our normative work and all the reports that's published. And that's where headquarters role becomes really critical. Thank you.
Thank you. Sridhar, Sheikh.
Very quickly on the country perspective, I wanted to highlight, if we want to say how we make changes or how better we do on the BPs or Bs. Because listening at the BP1, BP2, and yesterday on the corporate level at headquarters, on the different dimensions of the BP's implementation planning. At the country level, I think this exercise is not very much prominent. What we talk about projects, we talk about CPF, and we talk about annual work planning, but not really concentrating these points of Bs or betas, 4 betas. Maybe it could be in one of the pilot countries from your level to have a piloting how this better B's planning are going on, B's implementation is going on, and we can see how better links with regional offices or this BP leaders or headquarters level, having a good linking to understand how the real implementation goes in the countries. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Taka?
Okay. Thank you again. I mentioned before, but let me repeat. If it's a strategy has to be clearly communicated, and the strategy has to be used or implemented. But we know the RAP, there is the limited number of the people. I'm sorry to say that the limited, but there is a limited number of the people who can attend. There are so many countries in this region, but number of the staff members are so limited, plus they are sort of flooded, so many requests, so many projects, so many things. So we have to be realistic in a way that how to implement the strategy, which requires a lot of the input from the person. If you don't have a people, then you need to get out from the sort of the usual box and think through. My proposal is the use of the regional TCP. Give us, for example, regional TCP in India, then we will work for you to develop, for example, digital agriculture or the millet expansion or the food, whatever. So China has a lot of the capacity, and we should use the Chinese capacities to work for the other countries. So if we just put an FAO-centric approaches, it may not work in the region because there's so much to do in the region. But there is so much capacity in the country. For example, in India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and China, so many countries, Philippines. So I think we need to start thinking about how to utilize those country offices for their region instead of representing the FAO in the country. So that's sort of the thing that I think would like
Thank
to
you,
put on the
Taka. We hear you. Okay, last but not least, I guess.
Thank you very much, Yuji. I just wanted to add that this topic, multidisciplinary technical support, is highly important to this region. And it is very good that Taka just mentioned that strategies need to be implemented. When we finalized our regional gender strategy and action plan for Asia and the Pacific in 2021 and 2022, Taka, the regional program leader at that time, proposed us to add one sentence, which clarifies that in this region, all project programs and all areas of work must integrate gender aspects, irrespective of the main PPA, which the project or program contributes to. So I just wanted to remind that there's still room to be improved in terms of coordination and mechanism. And it was good that a new LTO model was mentioned, and we'll be happy to join forces to integrate gender aspects better in a more effective way. There are limited capacities in terms of number of staff, consultants, but we are doing better. I think we are doing better than before. And I need to emphasize that we need to improve our coordination among technical modules in RAP to provide better support to country offices and countries. So
Thank you for the reminder. Very important. Colleagues, we are running out of time. Let me just wrap up the session. You know, we should have more time for this kind of discussion. I think the conversation has been extremely useful, at least for me, you know, to understand regional perspective in response to, you know, what's going on to the countries. I have three observations that I would like to share. First, it is really important for us to reorganize ourselves in supporting countries. Meaning that, you know, with all the resources that we have here and headquarters, you know, we probably need to be asking, as Taka said, or Sridhar said, difficult question. What is that, you know, in terms of organizing support to countries that we need to prepare at different levels? So that is the first one. Coordination is very critical. Second, what is also important is somebody mentioned communication, and I thought it was David. Communication, sharing lessons like this, because, you know, problems in other countries might have been tackled in one particular country, like rice. So we have experts, as Taka said, a particular country might be expert on livestock, might be expert on, resilient rice production. How can we actually mobilize these experiences that we have in different countries in support of certain problem, in one or two of our country offices? So this is very crucial, but also would require more, horizontal coordination. Last but not least, I also heard that we have to go beyond better production. We have to go beyond our own module. We have to go beyond our PPA. We have to go beyond our own projects. What does it mean? My humble request is every now and then, take time to reflect what you are doing. You might be focusing on specific aspect of your work, let's say fishery or, agronomy or forestry. But it's really important to take time to reflect how your work impacts others. By reflecting, continuously or, regularly, we will be able also to understand whether we will be needing support from other modules, from other PPAs, from other offices. This is how, the beauty of working in FAO. We might not have resources or technical expertise in one particular office, but we know that such resources and expertise might, exist elsewhere. So let's capitalize on all these, opportunity that we have. And I really look forward to continuing the discussion further and perhaps over lunch.